Let's go watch Terminator Dark Fate. Terminator Dark Fate is the most recent in the Terminator franchise, and it is good, but not great. The problem is that it's effectively a soft reboot of Terminator 2, which is essentially what they've been doing for years, apart from Terminator Salvation, where they tried to do something a little bit different, but ultimately it's still a chase movie. This time we have Arnold Schwarzenegger back as a Terminator, and we have Linda Hamilton back as Sarah Connor. They're joined by two new characters portrayed by Mackenzie Davis and Natalia Reyes. All the performances are really good, especially Linda Hamilton. She is very comfortable with her character. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly where this person would be in life, and she plays that beautifully. All the other performances are great as well, except for Natalia Reyes, who has a really hard job. Her character is very bland and very forgettable. She takes the same role that John Connor played in the earlier ones, in that she's put into a situation she doesn't really understand, and she doesn't really know what's happening. So essentially she needs to be confused and earnest through the whole movie, which makes it very hard to make that character particularly interesting. They never know what's going on, but they really want to do something about it, and it just doesn't really work. It's very hard to add any colour to that character at all. Also, Arnie is great as the Terminator, but ever since Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, they've wanted to make some sort of comedy elements with his character, and for me it's never worked, because a Terminator is this terrifying thing when you think about what it can do and what it is, and yet every time they make a joke about that, every time they put him in stupid sunglasses, or every time they try to add some level or add some layers to that character, especially when they try to make that more amusing, it just undercuts the threat and the menace and the level of strength that character has. And in this instance, that's mainly down to the script, which needed a few more runs through. It's clunky in places. Often it's good, but just occasionally lines of dialogue seem forced and seem like they're placed in there without any real reason for it to be there. It doesn't feel like something that the character would naturally say. Any of the characters, they all have their own lines of dialogue that just immediately either make your eyes roll or immediately take you out of the film, because it just feels like it shouldn't be there. But where it does go right is the action sequences, especially early on in the film. It starts with an absolutely amazing chase sequence that feels real. It's a real nail biter. It really puts you on the edge of your seat. It's excellently choreographed and really well performed. However, by the end of the film, because they start with a high tempo action, they kind of feel like they have to up themselves as the film goes on, and by the end of it, the last set piece is almost cartoon-like. It's silly. You've seen some of it in the trailer, and it just seems absurd to the point where a couple of times I was rolling my eyes at how silly it was, and it took me out of the film. It took all of the setup that they'd done with all of the characters, apart from our main one, and all of the work that they'd done making this a believable world, and then they kind of ruined that simply by going to cartoonish levels of implausibility. Physics goes right out of the window, and in this world where you want to make us feel like the Terminators are a genuine threat, you need to make it feel as realistic as it can be. Generally, the Terminator series now has problems in that they keep on making the same film. The one time that they did try and do anything different, Terminator Salvation, it didn't really work because of the script and because of the pacing, and that film has a lot of problems. I admire it simply because they tried to do something different, but actually when you strip away all of the coating and all of the extra parts of the story that try to put it in a different setting and try to introduce characters at a different time in their life, you still have a major chase sequence being the core of that film. So really, Terminator has been doing the same thing all of its franchise, and the cracks are showing, and it's really not working anymore. So here are 3 things I liked and 3 things that I would have wanted to improve. Number 1, Linda Hamilton and Mackenzie Davis's performances are excellent. They're intense, they're believable, and they really add weight to the film. Number 2, the early action scenes are excellently choreographed. Number 3, it's the best Terminator film since Terminator 2. Now 3 areas to improve. Number 1, allow the protagonist to have more agency. Build her slowly taking charge rather than just having her not know anything, be completely lost until the last 5 minutes where she suddenly goes, yeah, I'll fight. Number 2, run a few more drafts of the script just to iron out some of the clunkier parts. Number 3, stop remaking Terminator 2. When reviewing a film, I always like to ask, did it achieve what it set out to do? Well, if they wanted to start a new franchise, then yes, they've succeeded. They've got our new main character set up, ready to take the franchise forward, hopefully telling different stories than the one they've been telling for the last 40 years. However, if they attempted to rekindle our interest in Terminator movies and the Terminator franchise, then I don't think they've succeeded, because it's just the same film. And if you're going to remake the same film, you might as well just watch Terminator 2 instead of watching this movie. And so, do I recommend the movie? No. It's well made, it's fine, it's enjoyable, but Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are much better movies. So why would you watch this movie when you could just watch them?